Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third annual RPES National Open here at the Williams-Grove Speedway, presented by Bloodline Sim Sports. Round 5 of 7 on the 2026 calendar for the RPES Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series. First, we'll go on board here with the number 9B, making his first start for Reigel Promotions Esports in 2026. It's Isaac Bowman out of the state of Kansas. Chase Townsend currently fastest at the top of the charts is 17.658. Your track record holder still well off the pace of that was set on October 7th of 2024 by Kenny Hoffman, a 16.948. So they still got a while to go till they can get to that mark. Isaac Bowman stays 15th fastest at 18.1. As now 𝐒𝐥𝐵𝐬𝐬𝐷𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 goes fastest in the 23 machine. Of course, his first start on the 2026 season, driving for Black Diamond Motorsports. Of course, his fellow teammate last week, Mason Hannigan, picked up his first win. So he'll stay second now as John Klimowitz III goes fast. Now Cameron Pritchard, of course, the defending winner of the National Open, picking up the win last year. Hold that inside line just as he did all 40 laps, basically, back in October. He'll stay second fastest as Anthony Villagran, another driver now up at the top of the charts. Talked to him earlier this week. One of those drivers that I would say is just knocking on the door to get a win. He's been up in the top 5 numerous times this season. Finally got his first podium last week. As you see Kenny Hoffman going to get in the wall there on lap 1, so that will not count. We'll see if he has anything better here on lap 2. Of course, he finished runner-up in the National Open last year, and the year before that, he picked up the win. So he'll be looking to do that once again here. Obviously at one of his home tracks here. Fellow Pennsylvania native. Pennsylvania posse, per se, undefeated when it comes to the National Open with Reigel Promotions Esports. He goes third fastest there, and two cars are not going to get it time. That is Tanner Pettit and Jimbo Rooney. We had 34 sprint cars in the pit area tonight here at the Williams-Grove Speedway. We'll have 3 heat races on tap. And you're right, we're racing Heat 1 will line up this way. Josh Whiteman out of Olean, New York, will start from the pole in the 24 machine. Alongside, out of the 23, Alec Zarinsky, best of 4th last year in the 360 Sprint Car Series. And John Klimowitz III out of East Point, Michigan, will roll off 3rd. And 4th will be the 22 of Anthony Villagran out of Redlands, California. And starting 5th, out of the state of Maine, the 43 of Nick Larry, currently runner-up in the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series point standings. And Parker there will start 6th in the 2 machine, driving the Badger State Simworks car out of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. And out of Georgia, the 83 of Greg Robinson rolls off 7th. Then lone Australian David Baker in 19. Then Zachary Good out of Fremont, Ohio in the 118 to roll off 9th. 10th, the 33 of Michael Tennyson. And rounding out the field out of Owasso, Michigan, the 11 of Joseph Groom. Be 8 laps to distance. Top 4 will move on directly to the big dance later on this evening. The rest of them will have to fight through one of the 2 Shaggy TV B mains later in the evening. course, you have our driver at second in, currently in the point standings, starting fifth in this one, so he missed the invert. Every other driver is outside the top 5 in the point standings. Josh Whiteman starts in the pole this one. He is currently P7 in the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series point standings as he steps on the loud pedal, and away we go to the Full Throttle Motorsports green flag. John Klimowitz to the inside of Anthony Villagran. Villagran has a momentum up top, and he will now take the spot away. Move Villagran to the third spot now in 22. Of course, your Bloodline Sim Sports Fast qualifier tonight, passing one of the Bloodline Sim Sports team members, John Klimowitz. Of course, John Klimowitz Jr. also part of that stable. Nick Larry also makes, of course, his way by in the Caden Berry Motorsports 43 momentarily. He'll look to solidify that in turn 2, but Klimowitz drives right back underneath of him. Josh Whiteman still out front in 24. Of course, had that podium run at Volusia. Not so much luck at the other half mile of Eldora, but now Zerinsky going to go for a slide job. He does. Whiteman pulls it right down the hill. We've got the Empire State versus Pennsylvania up front. Don't look now, though. All set, the California runner of Villagran in the background. Got 22, 23, and 24, all just running in the opposite order of car number up at the front. Zerinsky, we always know him. He's always one to put it up against the wall and run for all it's worth. Tries to do the crossover move, but Whiteman sees it coming, takes the line away. Kind of impressed at how much momentum the 23 was able to get on the outside, though, as now he'll stay side by side with Whiteman off the corner. Alec will have it at the line. New race leader out front in is Alex Zerinsky. Whiteman going to wash up there in the 24. Villagran going to come on right on through. He'll move himself into the second spot now. Reminder, the way they finish in this heat race is the way they will start in tonight's A main. So top 3 positions will be first, fourth, and 7th. That is the way they would start in tonight's main event. And of course, Nick Larry back in 4th would start in the 10th position. Still a battle here coming out of the final corner. Who's going to get to the line first? Nick Larry will hold on in 43. Big move there for the driver runner-up in the point standings. But your final results here in Reitmer Racing Heat 1. Zerinsky with the win, then Villagran, Whiteman, and Larry, they transfer. Then Parker, Klimowitz, Robinson, Groom, Baker, and Good. That is your top 10 in the first heat race of the evening. Now we got our second heat race of the night, presented by Hinkle Plasma Cutting. Jeremy Christensen will start on the pole out of the Lone Star State. Then Chase Townsend in the 720 out of Hanover, Pennsylvania, driving for Slide Job Syndicate. Then starting third in the 3 machine out of Roseburg, Oregon. Of course, set 3 of the 5 quick time awards on the season. That is Ashton Miller, who sits third in the point standings. And Cameron Pritchard, defending National Open champion out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania in the 21. And then Tayton Sander in 42. Out of Kiel, Wisconsin. Surprising enough, I was driving down the highway today, and I saw a tractor trailer that had the same exact, had Kiel, Wisconsin on the side of it, and I was like, hey, I know where that is. But Tayton Sander there, the 2025 Regal Cup champion, will start 5th. And 6th, Rick Thompson in the 240 out of Rushville, Indiana. Of course, home of the famous Tony Stewart. Then John Klimowitz Jr. out of Michigan in 34 goes 7th. North Syracuse, New York's Dean Reynolds goes 8th. At 9th, out of Dawson, Illinois, will be Matt Hinkle. And alongside in 59, out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, will be Dylan Brannon. And Tanner Pettit in the 024 will roll off from the tail of the field out of Chico, California. Of course, Jeremy Christensen, one of those drivers, he showed a lot of promise last year, has struggled to this point. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the year. So a lot of competition right now in the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series. And it's tough to make any gains, especially if you can't qualify good. He's got himself in a good spot tonight here at Williams Grove, though, up front in the heat race. Christensen leads the way over Townsend. Green flag is back out once again in heat race number 2 by Hinkle Plasma Cutting. So quickly, Townsend, not the start he wanted in this one. He's all the way back to 4th on the bubble of the transfer spot. Pritchard on the move. Of course, he was dominant last year, taking the win. His one and only start, I believe, in 2025 with the 360 Sprint Car Series. We've got a massive battle for the race lead now. Mueller and Pritchard up front. There's about to be a war for the race lead. Mueller going to go up top. Pritchard stays down low. We saw Pritchard, he ran the bottom almost the whole entire event last year. Tate Sander now up to 3rd, at least for the moment he was. Christensen slides it back on through, keeps it out of the wall. Tanner Pettit from last, now into the 3rd spot now in the Tanner Pettit Racing Sim Wrap Market number 24. So heck of a run there out of Tanner Pettit. This is his first race on the year. Of course, he ran the 360 Nationals last year at Knoxville. He brought it home in P7. Pritchard, though, out front. See him up against the cushion now. You saw Pettit coming on the bottom. You might want to think about getting down there soon. Still stays up top. 3 laps left in this one. As Pettit continues to reel in your race leader. Pretty amazing stuff out of the 24 to start 11th on the grid and be able to run 2nd and chasing down your leader. Might see if he has enough time here in the last lap and a half. Gonna get to the inside of the corner. Drag race to the line. Pritchard will still keep it at the line. Pritchard goes up top. See, Pettit, he kind of missed the angle on the corner. That might lose in the heat race. Looks like it will. Pritchard should be home free out of turns 3 and 4, and he will pick up the win in Hinkle Plasma Cutting Heat 2. Pettit brings it home 2nd. 3rd, Ashton Mueller. And 4th, final transfer, Tate Sander. Chase Townsend finishes 5th. 6th, Dean Reynolds. 7th, Rick Thompson. 9th, Matt Hinkle. 9th, Jeremy Christensen. Then 10th, John Klimowitz Jr. Then Dylan Brannon in 59 rounds out the field. Now, starting on the pole of the final heat race of the night, presented by RPES Gaming, will be Josh Slater out of Placerville, California. Then Scott Thomason in the number 6 out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He will roll off 2nd. Then 3rd, Bowen Smith finished 3rd in the series point standings in 2025 and picked up 1 win en route to that coming out of Volusia. He's out of Wellsville, Pennsylvania. Then alongside will be the inaugural and current point leader of the 360 Sprint Car Series, but the inaugural National Open winner out of the Keystone State will be Kenny Hoffman. Then Dawson, Illinois, Kevin Goodall, 29, will go from 5th. And Pella, Iowa's Michael Skirring at 07 goes 6th. 7th is the 66 of Jason Haynes out of Alberta, Canada. Then Devin Eaker in the 960 out of Kokomo, Indiana. We'll start on the outside of row 4. and Joseph Truskowski in the 412. We'll roll off 9th and 10th. Kinsley, Kansas, native Isaac Bowman in 9. Then Jimbo Rooney out of New York will roll off 11th in 27 after missing qualifying this evening. Same deal. Top 4, 8 laps of distance. Josh Slater made his first feature last week at the Lernerville Speedway, looking to do that once again here from the pole of the heat race at Williams Grove. Green flag is back out. Owen Smith down low. Hoffman gets into him though. Hoffman spun around. Looks like that will bring out the yellow, and it will. Go back and get a quick look at exactly what transpired there, but it looks like the one just had to get in the binders a little bit more than he would have liked. Just went there with a little bit too much speed. I don't think he thought the 012 was going to turn around there, and yeah, everyone just kind of got put up together there. But obviously, we just saw his fellow teammate Tanner Pettit do it in the previous heat race. Definitely not unheard of for someone to be able to work their way from the back all the way back up to the front. Of course, Kenny Hoffman, one of the drivers, racing for points, as he is the current point leader in Car 1. 3 wins on the year. Of course, picked up one of the triple 20s last week at Lernerville, as long as win from 10th at Volusia, and lastly won at Limaland as well. Would love to get that second National Open win here tonight at Williams Grove Speedway. Of course, what makes this race a little bit more special than some of the other ones that we have every single week is tonight trophy is on the line. Not only 2 races throughout the whole 7-race calendar. Can you say that you could win a trophy if you win the race? Of course, we got one of the biggest races of the year coming in June 21st through the 24th. Will be the next trophy race for the 360 Sprint Cars. That, of course, is the 360 Nationals at the Knoxville Raceway. 4 nights this year. We had 3 nights the last 2 years. This year we will have a Hard Knocks night where the drivers that do not lock in have another chance to try to lock themselves in to the final night of the program.
Hang on, we're not going green.
We will stay yellow one more lap. Of course, next week, be one you definitely don't want to miss. It's the Throwback Classic by TJ Visuals at the Port Royal Speedway. That'll be the next Regal Promotions Esports event, as we're off the rest of the week for March Madness. Race control man, Benjamin Wirt, it's his favorite couple weeks of the year, so I figured I would take tomorrow night off for the Pavement Ignition Series just for him. But next Wednesday, Port Royal Speedway Throwback Classic, 27 laps, $12 to win. Drivers have already posted quite a bit of really cool paint schemes in our Discord channel, so you're definitely going to want to see a lot of those next week at the Port Royal Speedway. Josh Slater back off. 7 laps to go when they get to the line. Thomason up top there in 6th, still holds the 2nd spot. 3rd, Bowen Smith. Michael Scurry now, of course, started 6th in this one. He is now in the final transfer. Devin Eaker, 8th, now up to 5th. See a couple cars there getting into each other at the back. Hoffman, though, already looking outside the transfer in car 1. He works the inside line. He's now up to 5th. We're going to get a caution flag. I'm going to assume it's for one of the couple cars that were at the back that we saw come out of turn 4. There's probably a couple stragglers, I would imagine. I'm going to assume it starts with this. The 29 gets into the wall, comes down the racetrack. Obviously, that was not intentional or anything. 412 gets there. 66, very, I would say, heads-up call there to not be able to get into everybody. I don't know how the heck he was able to get by all those. Just barely. But that, I'm gonna guess that's what the yellow is for. Those drivers there at the back. But since we're gonna have a couple minutes, a minute or two here during yellow flag conditions presented by 618 Engraving and Design, we'll go over a couple of our sponsors on the evening. White flag is always presented by Third Party Gaming. Abbott Box presents the drivers meeting each and every night with Regal Promotions Esports in 2026. Apex Graphics, of course, was Roya's Graphics, is now rebranded as Apex Graphics going forward. They are always the Victory Lane sponsor for 2 straight years now with Regal Promotions Esports. Bloodline Sin Sports presents qualifying each and every night. B-Main 3 and Pit Road is brought to you by Dirt Series Promotions. Finish Line Race Designs is the Passing Master Award. They will present a 3D print item to the driver that passes the most cars in feature action in 2026 with the series. F&D Awareness presents the Last Lap Hero sponsor. Any driver that can complete a Last Lap pass and win a feature event, they will receive $5. Of course, we just gave out another $5 on Sunday night in the off-road series when Brody Duscher made the last lap pass on Thad Countryman. And we're about to come back to it in a moment here. We'll come back to the Full Throttle Motorsports green flag. And away we go. The Tulsa, Oklahoma runner up top. He gets a massive run. And he will now take the lead down the backstretch in car 6. Slater now goes to the inside. It might be a mistake there. Bowen Smith's going to go up top. That wall could be very daunting, though. I do not really blame him for going to the bottom in 3 and 4. Very tough to run over there. Michael Scurry now going to take that spot away. Hoffman also comes through. Now Hoffman into the 4th and final transfer spot. I'm sure he is not going to want to stay there. 3 laps left yet. 6 gets into the wall off of 4. Bowen Smith now to race lead. Almost 4 wide momentarily. Scurry going to get into the 6. Of course, I think just one of those deals would kind of get stuck together. Tough break there for the 6. He's going to lose a lot of spots now. Bowen Smith, though, out front over Kenny Hoffman. Michael Scurry in 3rd. 4th now is Isaac Bowman. About a straightaway back or so. Going to be battle there between Devin Eaker and Isaac Bowman for that final transfer. Hoffman down low. Bowen Smith up top because you got 2nd and 3rd place. Running the low side. But the leader still staying up high side and handsome for Bowen Smith as he continues his trek towards the heat race win here in RPES Gaming. Heat 3 goes down low to protect, and he will come to see the checkered flag first. Kenny Hoffman to finish 2nd, Michael Scurry 3rd, and 4th will be Isaac Bowman. So 5th will be Eakers, then Rooney, Haynes, Thomason, Goodall, Slater, and Truskowski. That is your final rundown in 3rd and final heat race of the evening. Now we got our first of 2 B-mains on the evening. This one will be the Shaggy TV B-main number 1. Top 5 will advance out of this one. Parker go from the pole in car 2. Alongside of Kokomo, Indiana, will be the 960 of Devin Eaker. North Syracuse, New York's Dean Reynolds goes 3rd. Then LaBelle Georgia, Greg Robinson. And Alberta, Canada, Jason Haynes in 66. And Matt Hinkle driving the Slide Job Syndicate 52, Dawson, Illinois. And Australia's own David Baker in 19 rolls off 7th. 8th, another Dawson, Illinois driver, Kevin Goodall in 29. And 9th, East Point, Michigan, John Clemowitz Jr. Then alongside of him, Michael Tennyson in the 33. So 10 cars, 5 of them will move on to tonight's A main. You're at the Williams-Grove Speedway. 40 laps the distance tonight for the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 sprint cars. A couple of those other sponsors I did not get a chance to mention yet. Warm-up session we'll have here right after the second B main is brought to you by the Reigel Promotions Esports Shop. We probably won't run, usually it's set for 5 minutes, but we probably won't run all of that this evening. Of course, this B-Main is brought to you by Shaggy TV. They'll be broadcasting the first series of the season. For them, it will be the 358 Modifieds, which will begin on Tuesday, April 14th. Just similar to our Pavement Ignition series, out of a 3,500 iRating cap. Of course, we'll host the 358 Modifieds, which always put on a great show. Then 618 Engraving and Design presents the Caution Flag. And tonight's event is brought to you by Bloodline Sim Sports, which is, of course, the team that John Clemowitz Jr. and John Clemowitz III race for. And they present qualifying each and every night. Parker and Devin going to lead us to the green here out of 3 and 4. Green flag is out once again here at Williams Grove. It's like it's going to be a cat and mouse game of whether the top or the bottom is going to prevail here this evening. So obviously that top is already really far around this track. Bottom side would come into play even more than we've already seen it to this point. Parker still leads the way in the 2. Then Dean Reynolds now in 2nd. Eaker 3rd. 4th is Haynes. And 5th right now is Greg Robinson, as he holds that 5th and final transfer spot in the Elite Performance Industries 83. Of course, Matt Hinkle runs the Slide Job Syndicate series on Sunday nights that I typically broadcast on the channel. Drivers in, I'd say, the transfer spots at least decently far apart. Here is the closest battle on the track right now. Greg Robinson now looks to the inside of Jason Haynes. Of course, both runners have made starts in the NASCAR Truck Series season that you typically see on Thursday nights on the channel. Actually, all 3 cars now in your picture have at least made one, if not more, starts than that, as Hinkle now works his way into the battle as well. Haynes makes contact with the wall. That'll now give the advantage to Robinson to pull ahead slightly. Robinson now going to take that spot away, move himself into 4th. Matt Hinkle now going to try to slot himself in there. He's going to short slide the corner. He will take the 5th spot away, at least for now. Haynes tries to cut down the racetrack. Big run for him. He could not get to the back bumper. He almost got into him. Oh, I thought that was going to get hairy there for a second. He's able to back out of it, though. Remain clean. Now battle for 6th outside the transfer will be for Haynes and Goodall. Haynes now takes that back. Robinson now sets his sights on Devin Eaker. Number 96, 83, and 52, all now in transfer spots up front. About 3 seconds ahead of them is Dean Reynolds, who runs 2nd. And their second and a half ahead of him is Parker, who currently leads the Shaggy TVB main. Haynes continues to rail the top. See if you can get back to your top call, but the hourglass is running thin for the 66. Hinkle kind of giving an opportunity there maybe. Haynes going to have to really hit the top here if he's going to have a chance. He says, I'm going to give it all I have and see if we can get to the line first. Who's going to get there first? He crosses him over, but Hinkle just beats him right to the line. Great finish there. Great clean finish, really, between those two. But Parker, Reynolds, Eaker, Robinson, and Hinkle, your top 5 that make it on. So Haynes, Goodall, Baker, Klimowitz, and Tennyson will have to try again next week at Port Royal Speedway. So on the pole of your second B main of the evening, presented by Sweet Tea Gang, will be the 720 out of Hanover, Pennsylvania. Driver Slide Job Syndicate is Chase Townsend. He's currently 9th in the current point standings. Then in the 69, driver for Bloodline Sin Sports out of East Point, Michigan. He has a best of 6 this year, and he's currently 12th in the standings. It is John Klimowitz III. Then two-time and defending 305 Sprint Car Series champion Jimbo Rooney in 27 out of New York will roll off 3rd. And 4th, Rick Thompson out of Rushville, Indiana in the 240. Currently 20th in series point standings, driving for Infamous Raceworks, rolls off 4th. Owasso, Michigan's Joseph Groom in Car 11, 2025 RPES Driver of the Year, starts 5th. 6th in Car 6, Tulsa, Oklahoma, will be Scott Thomason in that 6th machine. Out of Texas, Jeremy Christensen in 16 rolls off 7th. Fremont, Ohio, Zachary Good rolls off 8th in the 118. Then Josh Slater out of Placerville, California, driving for Elite Performance Industries in the 30, starts 9th. 10th, Dylan Brandon driving for Slide Job Syndicate in the 59. Joseph Trostowski in the 412 rounds out the field in 11th. As you spoke though, next week, Port Royal Speedway for the Throwback Classic by TJ Visuals. Then next Thursday will be the Gold Rush at the Auto Club Speedway for the NASCAR trucks on the Pavement Ignition Series. Trophy will be on the line for that one, their last crown jewel of the season. And we'll wrap up the Off-Road Series on Sunday, March 29th with the Badger State Showdown at the Crandon International Raceway. As we head to the Full Throttle Motorsports green flag. Townsend up on the top. He will now lead from the pole. Klimowitz falls in place in second. Rick Thompson in third, and Thomason there in the 6th. Of course, he fell back in the heat race after leading the first part of it. As him and Rooney now going to make contact in the backstretch. Rooney able to gather it back in, see some tail tank damage there on the 27, but other than that, all good to go. Remember, top 5 will advance out of this one. Same as before. I prefer the late model system of running 2 B mains as opposed to running the alphabet soup. Joseph Groom, very nice paint scheme there in the 11. Ben and I were talking the other night about how much we like that paint scheme. Got the Groom Motorsports now, rebrand for Joseph Groom. Of course, the 240 here of Rick Thompson driving the Moley Chevrolet. Of course, Nick Moley, he raced the 305 series last year in 2025. Has not taken part in an event yet for the league in 2026. And Rick Thompson, there, one of those drivers. He was around for our second ever season. We ran in the spring of 2024. As he now continues to work on John Klimowitz here for the second spot. This happens though. Rooney now looking to the outside of Joseph Groom. This is your final transfer spot. Rooney falls back there in 1 and 2. Maybe just getting a little bit too far around. Groom goes up to protect in 11. Rooney all over him, just not able to do anything there. He's going to lose a lot of momentum into the 1 and 2. He's running out of time in 27. He's got to get on it if he wants to be in this race tonight. Of course, I believe he missed the show last week at Lernerville for the final triple 20. Continues to go here. We're going to come to the white flag. Rooney tries to send him in the inside. Gets into him, though. Oh, contact there between those drivers. Now, Good and them are going to get together as well. Final lap, though, so nothing race control could do. Caution cannot be thrown after the white flag has already came out. Townsend going to take the win here by a country mile in 72. And Klimowitz the third, second, third, Thompson, fourth, Thomason, and Trzaskowski will somehow come home with your fifth and final transfer spot into the National Open this evening. So your 22 starters in tonight's National Open presented by Bloodline Sin Sports is set. All that stands between us in the 40-lapper now is the RPES shop warm-up session, which I would imagine race control is not going to run a whole lot of it. Yep, but for the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series, we only have 2 more points races left in 2026. We have the Port Royal Speedway next week, and the Wednesday after that will be the Spring Rush by Shaggy TV at the Dirt Track at Charlotte, where we will crown our 2026 champion. Of course, we're not done with 360s after that, though. June 21st through the 24th will be the 360 Nationals. So 4 nights of racing action there. And we'll also be having a 410 Sprint Car Series Speed Week later in July. Will be, of course, be a 4-night, basically, Pennsylvania Speed Week. Be Williams Grove, Port Royal, Lincoln, and Lernerville, all at different tracks Monday through Thursday that week. I believe the dates are July 6th through the 9th for that one. All right, without further ado, we're going to get your starting lineup for tonight's A-Main here for the Bloodline Sin Sports National Open at the Williams Grove Speedway. Starting on the pole, in the 23 will be Alec Zarensky looking for his first career win in Regal Promotions esports history. Alongside the defending National Open champion out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, will be the Cameron Pritchard in car 21. Bowen Smith out of Florida in the 012 will start third. Fourth, California's Anthony Villagran in 22. Chico, California's Tanner Pettit Racing. Tanner Pettit in the 024 starts fifth. And sixth, driving the Tanner Pettit Racing number 1 out of Pennsylvania, Kenny Hoffman. Olean, New York, Josh Whiteman will start 7th in the 24. In Roseburg, Oregon, Ashton Mueller in 3 starts 8th. Michael Skurring out of Pella, Iowa, will start in the 07 from P9. And 10th, Cadenberry Motorsports, number 43 of Nick Larry out of Maine. And Kiel, Wisconsin's Tayton Sander in 42 starts 11th. Kinsley, Kansas is where Isaac Bowman hails from. He will start 12th in 9. Parker, course 1, your first B main of the evening, will start 13th in the 2. And alongside out of Hanover, Pennsylvania, Chase Townsend in 720. Dean Reynolds in the 79 rolls off 15th in North Syracuse, New York. Then East Point, Michigan's John Clements III starts 16th. 17th, Devin Eaker out of Kokomo, Indiana. 18th, Rick Thompson out of Rushville, Indiana. Then Greg Robinson out of Georgia in 83. Scott Thomason in 6 out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, goes 20th. 21st, Matt Hinkle out of Dawson, Illinois. And rounding out the field from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Joseph Truskowski in 412. See, the field is assembling in your victory fuel 4-wide salute here at the Williams Grove Speedway before we head off into our 40-lap main event. Will be that man right there, the 21 of Cameron Pritchard. Will he go back-to-back in the National Open, or will Kenny Hoffman finally get back to victory lane after winning the inaugural event in 2024? Or are we going to have a brand new winner of the event, or just in general, as of course Zarinsky has never won a 360 event in general with the league. Bowen Smith, of course, has won, but never the National Open. Villagran, another driver starting up front. We talked about him earlier. Driver's been knocking on the door for a win with the lead, just has not been able to do it yet. And surprisingly enough, Tanner Pettit, driver, of course, went from 11th to finish second in his heat race this evening. Has never won with Regal Promotions Esports. That could very well change here this evening. And honestly, could be anyone in the field. Obviously, Williams Grove not exactly, very well known for its passing, but how do you know? The track in War of Outlaws Sprint Car Series history has the driver that came from the farthest back in the field, it happened to Williams Grove. Fred Raymer, in May of in the 2010s, came from 24th to win a War of Outlaws Sprint Car Series race at Williams Grove. So anyone that says you can't pass at Williams Grove, well, there you go. But we're about to go full throttle motorsports, green flag racing here in just a moment. It's showtime at Williams Grove Speedway. Zarinsky goes up top, sparks the wall in 23. We'll be seeing him doing that most of the night, I am sure. As he leads the field here in the 3 and 4, and he will now lead the opening lap out of turn 4. Pritchard running that patent line on the inside in 21. Track ultra wide here tonight at Williams Grove. But Villagran now on the top side, trying to hold on as Bowen Smith and company on the bottom now. Cameron Pritchard just ran the fastest lap of the race by a pretty good margin there. Ran a 19.3, which is 0.5 of a second faster than your race leader the last time around. And he looks to maybe take the lead here. He's not able to do it there off the corner. Not able to do anything there in 1 and 2 either. Now shoots back to the inside here in 3 and 4. Zarinsky will still lead at the line. 4 laps in, 36 left. side by side at the line. 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠 still leads though. This is the fight tooth and nail up front between the 21 and 23. Bowen Smith now has made the pass. He's now up to third, solidified that. But now Hoffman and Pettit, now your fourth and fifth place drivers. Pritchard now going to take the sole possession of the lead here on lap 6. So your defending National Open champion takes the lead. 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠 says, I don't think so. He's charging hard still on the top side. Nearly took the lead back down the back straight. Actually giving it all he has up top, and he may have it. He does not. Pritchard will still lead at the line. He has not given up on the top yet. He is giving all he has. He'll get side by side once again down the backstretch. He wants that win bad in 23. Don't tell him there's still over 30 laps left. Will he lead at the line? He will. 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠 takes the lead back in the Black Diamond Motorsports 23. 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠 still holds that top side. He's got to be perfect up there, though, if he wants to keep the race lead off in front of that 21 car. As now Pritchard will take the lead back by half a car length at the line. Bowen Smith starting to slowly reel in this battle. He was 2 or 3 tenths faster that last go-around. As Pritchard looks to take command of this race lead once again. He does. So 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠, he got into the wall there in 3 and 4. That definitely slows him down a little bit. 𝐒𝐳𝐵𝐺𝐠 is not giving up on that top side. He will never quit on that top side, it seems like at this point. So he almost gets into it once again. It's Bowen Smith starting to chip into that advantage now for the second spot. Hoffman runs fourth, could be saving tires back there. As now Townsend, of course, he started 14th, I believe, in this one. He has now worked his way up to 5th in the 720. So we're going to get our first 618 engraving and design caution flag of the feature event. Looks like it's going to be John Klimowitz III. And maybe Tate and Sander. Looks like those two might have been involved in an incident back here. Yeah, it looks like John Klimowitz III here gets in there a little bit too hot into the corner. Gets into the 42. Just carrying a little bit more speed than he was. Looks like Tate and Sander didn't really have any trouble there with the 42. Of course, see there's some tail tank damage there, but other than that, still kept it pointing in the right direction, so shouldn't be too much harm done for the 42. But so kind of gets in there, kind of works its way out. We have 12 laps complete. Still 28 laps left here in the National Open by Bloodline Sim Sports. Obviously, still a long way to go in this one. A lot of laps to go here. Still a long time to kind of decipher what's going to happen. Could the guys in the back there, like Hoffman and like Smith, for example, they could be saving their tires, and you don't really know that. But track position is everything, especially when it comes to these type of racetracks. If you can get out front. Yeah, especially if we can stay green. I mean, we saw 12 laps click off there very quickly. If we could have a long green flag run, and saving those tires might not mean as much if you can't get those late race yellows, which we haven't really been getting in the 2026 season. We haven't had more than, I think, either 4 or 5 yellows, like max, I think, this season in any of our events. As Pritchard will lead us back to the Full Throttle Motorsports green flag. Pritchard leads the field down the back straightaway into 3. Zernsky's still holding the top side there as we get our caution flag here very quickly. It's like Anthony Villagran. It's a tough break for him there in the 22. Looks like 𝐑𝐲 there by the 3 makes contact with the outside retaining wall. If I can find Ashton Mueller here on the list, I can. Yeah, it looks like he just makes contact there with the wall, gets sideways, and the 22 has so much momentum coming through. He makes contact with him and just gets himself sent around there. It's a tough break for the 22 of Villagran, who's having a very good run for himself here this evening. Driver out of Redlands, California. Obviously, just like we spoke about, though, long way to go. You still could work your way through the field here and not really have any issues. Getting a good finish still. Definitely top 10, very doable at this point. Oh, about to get back to green flag racing here. So lights are out around the Williams Grove Speedway. Pressure now heads back to the inside in 21. He'll remain to stay down there. Zernsky, though, still not good up on that top side. He continues to spark the walls down up top. Will Bowen Smith had at the line? He will not. As still Kenny Hoffman also went up to the top now. So we see a second driver now trying his hand. Maybe he thinks it's go time in the 1. Bowen Smith side by side with him down the backstretch. Of course, both drivers there sponsored by Aces Up Sim Sports. Almost slight contact between the two. They do. Both make contact there on the front stretch. Now bring out a yellow. A couple cars there. Looks like Truskowski and Mueller also involved. And I think there might be some damage there on the 1, perhaps. So it looks like he can definitely trying to check it out there. We'll try to see if we can get a far chase so we can get a better angle at exactly what happened there. I believe they just kind of both ran out of racing room. Yeah, it looks like it's one of those classic netcode incidents. Obviously, the 012, I mean, he has a mirror, so he could see that the 1 was coming. But so at the same time, he gives him space, I feel like. But yeah, you could tell he's making contact there. Like, obviously, they visually are not touching each other. But it pushes the 1 sideways, and that's what causes everyone to end up wrecking there. And everyone else, I mean, when the car comes back across the racetrack, not much you can do there. But like Ashton Mueller, obviously very much broken front end there on the 3. Not much he could have done. Just had to make contact with the 012. Couldn't have missed him. Same with the 412. Tough break for both of those drivers. So one of those unfortunate scenarios there for our third. I believe it's our third 618 engraving and design caution flag of the feature event. As we near the halfway point in the National Open presented by Bloodline Sin Sports. Of course, this is the 3rd annual National Open with Regal Promotions Esports. We still have a lot more to come here in 2026. Of course, 360 Sprint Cars Series, NASCAR trucks, and Pro 4s. Only the first 3 of, I believe, over 10 series we have going on in 2026. Up next on deck, beginning in April, will be our Pavement Elite Series and the 358 Modifieds, along with the Demolition Tour, which will personally be my favorite. You definitely want to see that coming on Sundays come April. Cameron Pritchard on the gas, and away we go to Full Throttle Motorsports green flag action. Tanner Pettit now has slowly moved his way into the 2nd spot, as I believe 𝐒𝐤𝐧𝐤𝐥𝐞 might have had some problems there getting on the restart. So Tanner Pettit now up to the top. Of course, 𝐒𝐤𝐧𝐤𝐥𝐞 still has not given up there in the 23. And now Skirring making his way into the fight here at 07. I believe he started back in either 11th or 12th. And Nick Larry, of course, started 10th in this one in 43. Townsend kind of out of the shuffle now. After was charging to 5th, he is now falling back. Well, he's still running 5th there at the line. They're side by side. As you see, Skirring gets into the wall. And we almost 3 wide down the back straightaway. Run out of room as the back stretch is very narrow at Williams Grove. One of those things you should probably back out of it. And we get our 4th yellow flag here, just as we near basically are at the halfway point. It's gonna be the 6th of the Tulsa, Oklahoma runner of Scott Thomason. So he might see if he can get the far chase once again on this one. Bowen Smith is on the inside there. 6 gets a little bit loose there off the corner. You see snaps that way. And at the same time that 12 was coming up. Racetrack, because obviously he has to get off the bottom a little bit. I just don't think he expected the 6 to kind of do that there. And they just both unfortunately made contact. A big flip there out of the 6. Kind of goes completely out of the session. Of course, the first time that we raced here at the Williams Grove Speedway, back in May of 2024, with the 360 Sprint Car Series, we saw one of the most exciting finishes in our league's history, where 𝐒𝐲 picked up the inaugural win at the track. Caden Berry threw a slide job on him in the final corner, but 𝐒𝐲 basically pinched his car between the wall and Caden Berry, and kind of like Ross Chastain ended up winning the race off the final corner. As he pretty much was forced to do that. He had nowhere else to go, and it was definitely one of the most thrilling finishes in our league's history. Of course, this is now the 4th time that we have visited the track with the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series. We come back to the green flag once again. So we will have 19 and 21 laps left. Pritchard still leads in the 21. Tanner Pettit now in 2nd. Michael Skirring now up to the 3rd spot in 07. And Nick Larry will follow him through. Got a 4-car kind of flock here. Now from 3rd through 6th. 𝐒𝐤𝐧𝐤𝐥𝐞, of course, going to go back to the top shelf in 23. Townsend going to follow him. Larry and Skirring going to have a train going on the inside. So 2 by 2. Now it's going to be 3 wide. Just barely able to squeak by there. Townsend now going to try to throw his hand for 3rd. He'll take the spot away, parks it right on the 23's nose. He'll pull ahead. Nick Larry now says, thank you very much. I'll take the spot away from both of you guys. Scurrying, of course, still throwing his hand in the ring as well. As this battle of titans here for 3rd through 6th continues. Up front, Pritchard and Pettit continue to pull away as they're basically matching lap times. They ran 0.8 of a second faster than Chase Townsend at last lap. Of course, that is kind of part of the fact that they are continuing to battle back here. Those drivers are being able to run in clean air by themselves. As Townsend gets into the wall, loses a little bit of momentum, but he's able to pull back alongside of the 43 as they continue to go side by side for 3rd. Kenny Hoffman now is out of nowhere basically has worked his way back up to 5th after having to pit for that damage. So great run out of the one machine, showing exactly why he is the point leader. Cameron Pritchard now in the lead, still running the bottom. Same thing with Tanner Pettit. Those two out front of the field by nearly 3 seconds at the moment. Townsend and Larry still side by side for 3rd. And of course Hoffman, he's going to look to try to go 2 for 1 in turn 1 and 2, and he will do just that. He just pulls on by both of them in the Tanner Pettit race number 1. See if he can hold it here out of turn 4. He will. Hoffman now to the 3rd spot. And now Townsend still not trying to let Larry get away. Larry and Townsend continue to go side by side. Cannot get away from one another at the moment. So we get a yellow flag. Townsend currently his best finish with the 360 Sprint Car Series is a 5th, and that came in the season opener this year at Volusia Speedway Park. So we'll see what the caution here looks like. Devin Eaker and Villagran. So we'll just go straight to the far chase can this time. Yeah, it looks like Eaker there just ran out of room off the corner. Both of them just kind of came together. I think one was coming down, one was coming up, obviously. They just both kind of connected off the corner. Definitely one of those tough calls there if you're race control. Obviously, both of them do get the worst end of the stick, so, I mean, either way, it kind of, one of those ones that kind of works itself out either way, but back up front, though, if you stepped away for a couple minutes, you wouldn't have thought that anything had changed since now Kenny Hoffman's back up to 3rd just as he was previously, but he had to pass a lot of cars to get there. Of course, similar thing happened last year when he ended up finishing 2nd. He just could not catch a break in the National Open in 2025. Every single time that he seemed like he had a chance to get any momentum going on, he had trouble, I think, in qualifying last year, and then he also got involved in an incident, I believe, within the first 10 laps, and Pritchard was kind of already checked out at that point. So just not enough time to get himself back up to the front. Of course, he had a whale of a battle with Connor Dudek in the inaugural event. Those two drivers, teammates back then, raced very hard for racing, exchanging sliders for many laps in the 2024 edition. National Open, just one of those events that never disappoints, whether it's in real life or here with Regal Promotions Esports, as we get back to it. With just over 10 laps left, probably our final double file restart of the evening. Pritchard out front in 21. We got, of course, got the team cars of Tanner Pettit Racing running 2nd and 3rd now. Now they run side by side down the backstretch. Hoffman will have the advantage here now in 1. Of course, Hoffman picked up his 6th win last last week at Lernerville. Puts him third, I believe, all time in wins with the series. Still some 25 wins behind Caden Berry all time. Now Pettit continues now to stalk the one, see if he can get back by him. Of course, those two don't want to battle too much, though. Kind of like in some other forms of racing you see, the more you battle, the more time you lose. But don't tell that to Tanner Pettit. He's going to try to work his way back around the outside, and he will do just that in 24. Put him back to second for the moment. Obviously, got to go anywhere they're not. This allows Pritchard to continue to pull away, though. But we could see another 618 engraving and design caution flag. You never know. Still side by side. Fourth is Larry, and Townsend is now still battling. Here for the fifth spot, we got a three-way battle between Zarinsky and Skirring. But up here, though, still the Titans continue the battles. Now Pettit gets into the wall in 3 and 4. That allows Hoffman to have the advantage. They're still about a second back from Pritchard. Pritchard is looking very good out front in the 21. He is looking to go back-to-back in the National Open by Bloodline Sim Sports. A number of things could change that here in the closing laps, though. We'll see if any of these drivers have anything for him. But he has looked nearly unbeatable in his debut on the year. As Hoffman and Pettit still race side by side for second. And then this battle here, Townsend, he just continues to be in a battle for fifth continuously throughout the night, it seems like. He got the fifth on that first restart. We see we got a yellow, I think, at the back, maybe. And it will be. Rick Thompson, I believe, is one of the cars involved here. In 240, I saw him get turned around in the back of the screen. So obviously, definitely not the type of thing that Cameron Pritchard was hoping for. He was hoping it would stay clean and green the rest of the night. But we'll go back here to see if we can get some more contacts here. So 24 or 240 here is going for a slide job attempt here on the 79. Dean Reynolds not able to slow down in time, gets into him, and Reynolds ends up turn around there. So nice and easy. I guess you're gonna park it in front of me. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get the horns, basically. That's what Dean's sending the message there in 79. It's like the old Major League movie saying, "Don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through." When we get back to racing, though, we'll have 4 laps remaining in the National Open presented by Bloodline Sim Sports. We'll see if Pritchard is able to go back-to-back. I do not believe that we've ever had a back-to-back winner in a Crown Jewel event, regardless of any of our series, I don't think. I could be wrong, but I am pretty sure about that we've never had a back-to-back winner. I know for sure we haven't in the National Open, obviously, since we've only had 2 races and 2 winners. Obviously, very likely chances that we're going to get a driver that's won it before, unless, because they're the top 2 drivers in this event right now. But we have seen stranger things in the past. Someone could pull an upset here in the final 2 miles around the Williams Grove Speedway. But lights are out around the track. We will get back to racing here as they pass Beer Hill once again in turn 3. Single file the rest of the way here this evening. Pritchard back on the loud pedal in full Throttle Motorsports green flag is back out. Hoffman follows him down low in 1. Pettit goes down back up to the top side. And of course Larry now in 4th. Townsend now runs in 5th with Skirring right beside him. Pritchard still out front. 3 laps to go at the line. Kenny Hoffman in now, still in second, and so is Pettit. Does not seem like they have anything for him, at least not now. He's got to go to the top, and that's exactly what he's going to do. You just got to try something different. Whether it works or not, we'll see. But he's going to give it a shot here. 2 laps remaining. He was able to get closer there. Maybe he'll try something again in 1 and 2. I mean, in 3 and 4. He may be able to pull something if he can get close enough. But he's able to get a good enough run at least off the corner. See if he can do it here again. Not able to do it. Definitely lost time that time as now we're on the final lap of the main event. Looks like Cameron Pritchard, barring a mistake here, will be going back-to-back in the Bloodline Sin Sports National Open. Goes through 3 and 4 for the final time. He will see the checkered flag first for the second time in a row. Your National Open champion is Cameron Pritchard. Kenny Hoffman finishes second. Third is Tanner Pettit. So 2-3 there for Tanner Pettit Racing. Nick Larry fourth, and Michael Skirring finishes fifth. Your top 3 of Pritchard, Hoffman, and Pettit. We'll get a word with them in a few moments. Another great showing here out of the Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series as they continue to impress me in 2026. Putting on a lot of good races this year. Haven't had a single bad race at this point. You see Pritchard there burning it down in 3 and 4 for the second straight season. As they'll come here on the front stretch to get their podium photo. But your full race rundown for tonight's action. Cameron Pritchard with the win for the second straight season. Then Hoffman, Pettit, your top 3. Then fourth, Nick Larry. Then Skirring, Townsend, Mueller, Bowen Smith, Dean Reynolds, and Parker round out your top 10. And 11th, Alex Zarinsky after starting on the pole. Matt Hinkle, Anthony Villagran, Truskowski, Eaker, Thompson, Robinson, Klimowitz III, Thomason, Whiteman, and rounding out the field, Tayton Sander and Isaac Bowman. Reminder, next week, once again, we'll be with the Throwback Classic by TJ Visuals at the Port Royal Speedway for round 6 of 7 on the year. So we're now going to see, we're still waiting on the race winner to get in the broadcast waiting room. Well, I guess since they're not there yet, we'll get a word here with Kenny Hoffman first. Hey, Kenny, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Obviously, sucks to be second for the second straight year, but still almost a similar situation to last year where you had to come to the back after being in the obviously starting in the front. Just some tough luck there in the beginning there with some netcode.
Yeah, sucks. Obviously, from my perspective, I don't really think it was net good, but I have to go back and watch it. I'm sure it was just heat of the moment, just like
Yeah,
damn, that kind of
yeah.
sucks. But it just sucks because obviously Bowen just signed up, so he's not really racing for points. So, just kind of careless. Because similar situation happened after we were in the back of the field, and it's just scary. Just being back there, obviously, just want to have a good points run, and
Especially
happy
at
that we were
Williams
able.
Grove when it's so narrow.
Yeah, it's scary for sure because you really got to slow down for these corners. When you're on the bottom, and it's very technical. I mean, it's probably the hardest track on the simulator to really run well. Constant lap after lap after lap, and yeah, just luckily we were, I just really just played catch up all night. Just, I that last restart once we got in the second, I really thought I had a shot at Cam and really wasn't really hitting the bottom that well in 1 and 2 that first couple laps of that last restart there, and just as I was ready to make a move, I just doinked the inside wall coming off of two, and
Yeah.
that did not help at all. And so luckily the front axle just didn't fully snap, and just able to keep finishing up front. And I said it after I lost at Eldora, just the goal if not to win is just be the first loser and just really try to capitalize on points. So um, yeah, it's really all it was. Just wish we didn't really play catch up all night, and maybe either qualified worse or
Yeah.
not had that situation happen in the heat race, and or not started fourth in the heat and started up front there and just been up front the whole race. So I really felt like we had a really good car, and that's just all thanks to Tanner and everything he does for us as a team, and huge shout out to him.
Yeah, obviously great run again. I haven't finished worse than second yet this year. Uh, at this point, at least as long as you have a good run next week, should pretty much only need to show up when it comes to Charlotte in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Port Royal's next, so definitely looking forward to that. That's fun track. I like racing that place, and it's going to get rough and technical, and just the goal of that week is just go in with no expectations other than just to keep the car on the ground, because track gets really hard when it gets really slick and really rutted out. So just hopefully we can just come home and one piece and not have as much damage as we did tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you running with us, and congrats on the second place.
Yep, thank you. Just real quick, just want to shout out everybody on the team. Just really thankful for Tanner and what he does for us as a whole group, and just really appreciate it. And all of our sponsors, just Simrap Racing Market, Tanner Pettit Racing, Aces Up Sim Sport, Jimmy P Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, CD Cinematography, and just shout out to Cam for the win. He ran a overall just a really good race, just executed from the heat race and ran well. So props to him, and thanks for putting this event on for us, and thanks for the broadcast as well.
We appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that was Kenny Hoffman, finished second tonight in the Bloodline Sin Sports National Open. Now we'll interview your race winner, Cam Pritchard, for the second straight year. Hey, Cam, how you doing?
A little bit better now.
Well, you're the first back-to-back winner, and I think any event that we host across any of our series, so a big accomplishment. And obviously, now we got three straight winners from Pennsylvania. As a fellow Pennsylvanian, I couldn't be more proud of that fact.
Yeah, it means a lot. We don't get to race as much now, so to come back and win a big event, especially a first two-time winner is a pretty big accomplishment, and that's what we were going for. And I guess we'll go for a three-time. It sounds pretty good.
Well, I mean, you pretty much clear sailing after you took the lead there. I guess walk us through your race.
Yeah, I had the same thought as last National Open. It's going to come down to the bottom. I felt good the whole race, just saving tires pretty much 20 laps in, 25 laps in, just pacing myself. And, I was just getting told that they were trying to beat the fence up there, and I was still fast on there. So just, keeping that rhythm down there. I knew they weren't going to get by me unless I made a crucial mistake. And thankfully I didn't. I almost did on the final couple laps. But yeah, just when you have that, many group of good guys behind you, you can't make a mistake. And I feel like we only made maybe one all night, and we qualified pretty good and put ourselves in a good spot to be up front, starting second again. Kind of same spot as we did last year. So same mentality going into the feature, and just keep a pace going. Once you get to the lead, you got to keep that pace up. And I really didn't want to play catch up. I was going to save a little bit more and try to get him at the end, but I figured it was best to stay up front and keep in front of him as best as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Congrats on the win. And is there anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I just got to thank Dean Gertie. He's and Josh Hofer. They were both helping me on this one. They were both spotting for me, and Dean for working up on the setups and setting up the car all day for me to just come on and jump and race. With not really much practice. So he busted his butt all the time, and I'm just glad that we can get these big titles for him. It shows a lot, and it shows all the accomplishment that we made, and I just can't thank him enough.
Absolutely. Appreciate you running with us tonight, and hope to see you at some point the rest of the year.
Yep, thank you.
Right, that was your first ever back-to-back National Open winner, Cameron Pritchard. Now we'll get a word here with your third place finisher, Tanner Pettit. Hey Tanner, how you doing?
Good.
Of course, haven't ran many races with Reigel Promotions Esports, but best career finish third. I think you only ran the 360 Nationals last year, from what I'm aware. But had a fun battle there with, of course, Hoffman up front. Just seemed like Pritchard was very tough to beat tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. The bottom was just super consistent, and I knew Cameron would be really consistent down there. So kind of decided there early on that I'm going to commit to the top and see if I can get this thing rolling to try to get around him. And I just couldn't quite get enough in 1 and 2. Part of me wishes I went to the bottom in 1 and 2, and then the top in 3 and 4, and maybe kept up my run that way. But was a little too late on that one, and Hoffman stuck on by on the bottom as well. And super proud of our team efforts tonight, even though we came a little short of the W.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Mueller still finished 8th tonight. Like you just said, I felt like 3 and 4, I felt like could be, if you hit it right, could be just as fast as the bottom, if not a little bit faster, with the run you can get off. But 1 and 2 at the end, it seemed like the bottom just where you had to be.
Yeah, I started to cheat it a little bit and kind of slide up to it, which it actually worked for a couple laps, but eventually it just got too hard to hit in the center, and especially coming off it. There was just a real rough spot, and towards the very end, I entered on a couple times. It was a little better. Maybe I should have stuck all the way up there, but all in all, it was super fun, super racy track. I mean, I felt like me and Cameron were pretty even there, running two opposite lines there for a little while. So it was all around super fun. Can't thank you guys for putting on enough, and also like to give a few more shout outs. I'd like to thank Jimmy P. Mac Tools, 1425 Photography, Aces Up Simsport, CD Simtography, Trackside Collective. I'd also like to thank SimRap Market, and I'd like to thank all you guys for putting this on, because again, that was a blast, man. The track was awesome.
I appreciate you guys racing with us, and of course, you making your debut on the year. Hope to see you a little bit the rest of the year. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, that was your third place runner tonight, Tanner Pettit. That's going to do it for the podium here at the Williams Grove National Open, presented by Bloodline Sim Sports. We appreciate everyone tuning in here this evening to watch the Bloodline Sim Sports National Open. This has been round 5 of the RPES Hinkle Plasma Cutting 360 Sprint Car Series in 2026. Still 2 races left. Next week, Throwback Classic by TJ Visuals at the Port Royal Speedway. A lot of throwback schemes for that event, and some extra money on the line as well. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. This has been Andrew Reigel, and we'll see you then.